No.
So the second one, me and Chris were at this event, Ivan, and I'll let Chris take over because he's a really good talker and he's really good about speeches and stuff like that. So we were at this event where this guy was talking about his buddy, and he was this whole elaborate story. Chris, you want to? I'll tag you in on this.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, so this guy is, it's a best man speech. It's we're there, and this guy starts this really elaborate story, and half of the audience is in. You've been a part of, you've been at some weddings. Most of the audience, you guys have probably been at a wedding before. And so for a lot of us, it's kind of like, hey, we're always trying to figure out, like, hey, is this one of those typical best man speeches where it's like, just like frat bros, like, and it's just kind of awkward and it drags on and they're trying to say something meaningful, but they don't really know how to communicate very well. Or is this like, wow, this is very articulate, and man, this guy maybe is a public speaker of some sort. So, we're still trying to figure it out. Right. And I look over in the middle of the speech as I'm trying to figure out what I think about it, and my wife just has tears in her eyes. She's just like, she's captivated. She's in.
Yeah, dude.
Okay?
Dude, I was sitting behind her, and I could see the tears, like, through the back of her head. I was just like, and I was looking around. I was like, every woman is so... like just into this right now. And then like half the guys are just like, all right, dude, you're on the clock, like get it done. You know what I mean? Like
totally.
Straight up, dude, like, all right, you're doing a good job, but let's finish it up.
Totally. So if any of the dudes tried to talk to their girlfriend or to their wife at that point, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go get a drink, or they would silence the man, and you're ruining it.
Right.
So I look over and Sam is tearing up a little bit, and she's the feeler, so she's entitled to feel whatever she wants, and so, but I was like, I can't believe this speech feels like a sham. I don't believe a word of this speech. And so I was like, you're crying? And I'm not trying to dismiss her emotions, but at the same time, I'm like, dude, I just can't believe you're getting such a different read from me on this situation.
Dude, should I give the cliff notes of the story? I'll just say it's on par with an Indiana Jones movie. Is how crazy, like, action, like, oh my gosh, this is insane. It's literally on par with that, like cliffs, like crazy, like mushroom clouds almost. You know what I mean? Like,
the real story is a 3 out of 10, and he told it an 11 out of 10.
Yes, he bumped it up 7 points.
Oh my god.
Yeah, like, I'm not kidding. So he tells his story. Continue.
He tells his story, and so I'm talking to Sam. I invite Steven into the conversation. I'm like, dude, that just felt like that story was not real to me. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. What are you thinking, man? And he's like, I totally felt the same way.
Dude, I was like, yeah, it was polished, but overdone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep. So Sam just goes, no, there's no way. You guys, that was a really good speech. Mm-hmm. And you guys, come on. Mm-hmm. Seriously, you guys are probably just jealous you didn't tell that speech.
Right.
And we're like, so I'm thinking in my mind, I'm like, I got to get to the bottom of this.
Yeah, dude.
I got to get to the bottom of this.
Wedding.
Exactly, dude. Inspector Gadget is on scene now. I'm ready to figure out, there's something that's just not sitting right with me. My intuition, my gut's telling me this story is just, it's salesman.
Dude, salesman we were going back and forth about, like, what is a good story, you know what I mean? Talking, he brought up the fact that he's like, I think he cranked it up too high, like, of what it really was. Mm-hmm. And I made the thing of, like, a great story is a picture on Instagram that just is. Mm-hmm. And then, like, there's a solid story, but it's got a great filter on it. And I was like, that's probably what he told, you know what I mean? Like, a great filtered, mediocre Instagram picture, And so I'll let you finish it, dude. Oh
yeah.
My gosh.
So anyway, Steven's like, dude, this is so interesting. Like, he made the observation, like, I wonder if there's a difference between men and women on how they hear these sort of things. A man's listening in a certain way and a woman is listening in a certain way. And, sure, there's carryover and there's gray, and some guys are feeling something and some women are feeling a completely different thing.
Right.
And then there's guys that were probably in on the story, and there's women who probably felt like, dude, this story is a sham too.
Yeah.
So, but by and large, we were wondering and kind of interested in, do the different genders hear this story differently?
Totally.
And so we started kind of vibing on that conversation at our table, and it's like, well, we'll have to find that out. And so Steven's like, well, I think I'm going to take this conversation beyond our table.
Oh.
So I'm going to turn it over to him.
So oh my gosh. So there was this girl that was like diagonal table from us.
Okay.
Pretty girl. I would say well within my range. Blonde with like the Rancho Cucamonga roots. Like the
Hold on. For any listeners out there that don't know the Rancho Cucamonga roots,
there's a lot.
What exactly do you mean?
There's a lot of bros out in Rancho Cucamonga, and so with that, if you had a lot of male species of the bros, the females are gonna follow. So you got really light, like not super bright, but blonde hair, and then really dark roots, right? That's I didn't want to say the language, but it's been called a broho look. But she was so sweet, which you guys will find out is a crock of shit. But so okay, the whole time, like we're in and out of this conversation with Sam, you know what I mean, and his wife, and then kind of some other people. There was a couple other girls at the table that were like right with Sam, like, oh my gosh, like I thought there was a kid in the car, and we're like, he didn't say anything about the kid, you know what I mean, like all this crazy stuff, you're like totally imagining like the worst, most like beautiful story. So, and then this whole time we were like talking about this girl, and I was like, I can't just go up to her, you know what I mean? I've crashed and burned on that 500,000 times, you know what I mean? And then we were talking about this, and I go, dude, well, okay, so before I went over to this girl, this guy at our table, it was kind of big table, so a lot of different conversations going on. This guy at our table, he goes, oh, dude, I was there. And me and Chris just looked to the skies like, this is the greatest night ever. Like, oh my gosh.
Wait, you were at this car accident.
Yeah,
you were at
the scene of this whole grand story about his best friend and this whole heroic thing, you know what I mean? And he goes, yeah, I was there, dude. And he goes, it was a fender bender. Like basically the cliff notes are they were at this beach, and then the whole point of their, two buddies are out surfing, and this car comes off the cliff and then crashes off the cliff. And he's like, oh my gosh, like, I'm looking, and I look to my right, and my buddy Sean, Sarah is not there, and her name's not Sarah, but and then I'm thinking, did I lose my best friend too? But he was already halfway paddling to shore. I just want to be like that man, you know what I mean? This whole like Indiana Jones thing, and he goes, dude, there was a fender bender on PCH, and he ran to go check it out. Like this whole elaborate Indiana Jones, his car flipping and tumbling down this cliff.
Then a giant stone. Just
there was boulders fell down, and like this total like Groundhog Day.
It
car
was
accident.
the Indiana Jones ride,
dude. Straight up. And then it turned out to be. He goes, dude, there was a fender bender up on PCH, but you could hear it from the water. But yeah, like some guy just rear-ended, and it was like everybody was fine. And I was like, oh my gosh, like it was so. The conversation was already so good, and then it was just God's gift of like, here you go, like this is, and then. It was like, kudos to you, because I don't know if I'd have the maturity to not just turn to my wife and be like, aha! Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I knew it!
Yeah, like,
I knew it!
The whole thing was made up, dude. So that happens. And then I come to the conclusion with that girl, because we, like, the whole thing was like, I can't just walk over there. And I go, dude, that's it. That's my end to this conversation with that girl. Like, can you believe this whole thing happened, right? So I'm like, all right, okay, buttoning the top button, because it's a hit or miss with the hairy chest. And so I go walk over there, and there's another girl sitting next to her, which is, women, you would think it'd be double as powerful, but it's about 20 times as powerful as they get with just one more woman next to them. And she's cute, but I'm not going to, like, hit on both of them at the same time, you know what I mean? So it's kind of like, hey, the only reason why you're here is because I can't tell you to leave, you know what I mean? So I don't sit down, I kind of hunch over like Hunchback Notre Dame, because that's my most attractive feature. Yeah. And
it's been known.
No, because I don't know, I didn't want to sit next to her, but I kind of like not squat. Anyway, I walk over to their table, and I go, hey, like, do you guys have a couple minutes? Like, I was just like, what did you guys think of the Best Man speech? We were kind of talking over there, and we found out some interesting things. And they gave me a look as like the guy that knocks on your door trying to sell you newspaper. You know what I mean? Like, just leave. You know what I mean? Like, so like it's quick pitch. I've talked about it a lot. Like when you're salesman, like, you walk up as a creeper, and it's like quick pitch. I'm not a creeper. In fact, I'm your future husband. Check me out. You know what I mean? And so I'm trying to, like, doing my best as a quick pitch. And I got to be honest, I'm mediocre at this. Like, or at least this time. I'm a smooth sailor, smooth operator at some points in my life, but I'm struggling. I think it was because there was 2 chicks. Because I didn't know, like, who to give attention to. I couldn't just, like, block one chick out because it's kind of mean. But then, you know what I mean? It's like you kind of have to divvy it up.
Well, it's 20 times as powerful, bro. You didn't come with all your power.
That, and then I think I came off of was like, why are you making fun of the best man? You know what I mean? Which kind of was, to be honest with you. I was like, well, we were just talking about, you know, the difference between like all the women at the table, like, totally thought this, like, elaborate thing, and they were crying, and then all the guys were like, it's solid, you know, but it's kind of whatever. And then I was like, and then we actually found out a guy was there, and the whole thing was fake. Like, and then I asked him, before I told him the whole thing was fake, I was like, yeah, what'd you guys think of it? Like, scale of 1 to 10. And one of them right off the bat's like 10. I'm like, okay, you're being a bitch, because that was definitely not a 10. And then the other one, you know what I mean? I was like, she said it with, like, an attitude of, like,
she just sent you back to your seat.
Yeah, it was essentially like, there's your exit. Yeah. And the other one's like 7, the one that I was actually trying to talk to. I was like, okay, like 7 out of 10, you know, maybe I'll get, I was going to say lucky, but that's kind of a stupid thing to say. So then I told them, like, well, dude, there's somebody that was there, and the whole thing was fake. And I was like, can you believe that? Like, we couldn't believe it. It was so funny. Like, what do you guys think? And the girl I'm trying to talk to just goes, I don't care. And I just go, all right, have a good night. And I just walked back. And then Heidi, who's our friend, was like another table next to us. And they'd obviously been watching me talk to them. She's like, how'd it go, Steven? And I'm like right next to the girl I just got shunned by. I was like, terrible. And I just kept walking back.
Oh, man.
And it was just, God, it was one of those moments.
You took that with dignity, grace, and poise. You were a true gentleman in that situation, Steven.
The funny thing is the guys that I know that are actually friends and I've gone out with them, they get a lot of women. Literally, like, for me, it's like, okay, you go up to a woman at a wedding. It's like, it kind of has to be the right, like, you have to have a reason. Otherwise, you're kind of just sleazy. You know, it's like, dude, we're at a wedding having a good time. You know, you're not Owen Wilson or Vince Vaughn. You know what I mean? Calm down. And so, but the guys that will just go up to 15 women in the same night. And it sounds messed up, but I'm sorry, ladies. Like, all my friends that get a ton of women will go out for a night, and I've seen them literally, like, go to one woman, and then they don't even come back to the guys' group. They just go to the next, like, 10 feet away.
Jeez.
What kind of events are you going to?
You know, no, like, I was like 20, 21, and it was when hookah was, like, really blew up in this area. So there was a cool thing. I wasn't into it, but I was like, let's go to the hookah bar. And it was kind of a joke of like, dude, I'll put on a nice shirt, like, let's get me a woman, which I never did. But one of them, like, sitting in a hookah bar, not smoking hookah, and I was like, I don't want to be here. Like, hey, you want to hang out with me? Like, you clearly come to things that I hate, but let's hang out. You know what I mean? But no, he would literally go. Well, okay. I've also seen my buddy Gabe walk over to a girl, and he, like, before he can even say hi, she just goes, nope, 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 and he's like, you're not even, nope, nope, bye, bye. And I'm like, oh, I couldn't laugh harder because he kind of deserves it because he's a piece of shit. You know what I mean? But I was like, this is so great. No, but they were literally just walk back and forth, which I'm not into.